How's it going, guys? This is Vincenzo from home of Milan coming back at you once again. Furthermore, today we had a lot to unpack with the second leg versus Slavia Praha and also the preview of the next leg versus Roma in the quarterfinals. Also, the nice Serie A win versus Hellas Verona. Before we get into it, make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials at Instagram, X, TikTok, and Bunches, all at home of Milan. So without any further ado, guys, let's jump into this. So starting with the second leg versus Slavia Praha, we get the win and we are now in the quarterfinals. However, for this game, out the gate, we knew Slavia were going to come into this match with some pressure and quality, and they did exactly that, forcing Mike Maignan to make a couple saves here and there, and eventually came out injured due to a rough tackle between him and a Slavia player. And I feel like there needs to be an open dialogue with Mike Maignan in this season because he's been nothing more than disappointing this season and looking like a shadow of himself, picking up another injury, what seemed like, and I think it may be time to move on from him, cash out, because Bayern are kind of looking at him for a little bit for a nice little price fee of around 60 million euros. So it could be time to move on from Maignan, but obviously in the game against Hellas Verona, he played and he actually did quite well. But then Slavia were then branded a red card once again in the second leg as well, after a good long look from the VAR, this time for a studs up tackle on Calabria, and which in my opinion, I don't think it was a red card. I just don't think it was harsh enough. But once that red card was shown, then the field opened up so much more. And this time, Milan took advantage of this opportunity to put some damage on the opposition. Leao does really good to find Pulisic in the box, and the American does well to put in his chance away for 1-0. And from there, I feel like the floodgates opened. 2 minutes later, Leao and Teo combine for a nice little 1-2 and finds Loftus-Cheek in open space in the box as well, make it 2-0. And I feel like you just see the drop in quality from the Slavia players. And they were playing at a top level from the beginning of the match and obviously in the second leg as well. But I think they were just deflated. Once that red card was branded on top of that, I think the 2-0 knocked out some energy into them. And just to rub salt in the wounds, Pulisic finally out in open space, and Rafa takes a touch and unleashes an absolute rocket into the top right corner. And it was a fantastic goal from Leao. And this was the Milan that we all wanted to see in the first leg. Threatening going forward, great movement into space, and just clinical in front of goal to make the job a lot easier. This is what it should have been like in the first leg when we were a man up. Second half, Milan were in cruise control. We didn't want to sacrifice anything going forward, and we had a 5-goal lead on aggregate. So it was nice to see a more controlled Milan team going into this second half. But it was up until the 83rd minute in the dying moments of the match where we caught sleeping and we lost our concentration and we conceded, but this didn't really mean anything into the tie as we were up 7-3 on aggregate. So let's just go to tops and flops. Top, I'm going to say Leao because of his great goal and just overall being effective going forward. And for flop, I think I'm going to say Calabria because we all know if Florenzi was available, I think Pioli may have started Florenzi over Calabria. And also, Calabria did get subbed out at halftime, so I think that just tells me all I need to know about his performance. I think just overall, Milan definitely showed our dominance in this game. We saw a red card, we took advantage of it this time, and that's something we didn't see in the home leg. But the bad thing is, prior to the red card, we didn't really create as much as I hoped because of the constant threat on our goal. But I think what matters is our reaction and what happened in the match. We got the job done, and now we play a very noble opponent in Roma. Obviously, Roma, since the appointment of Daniele De Rossi, I feel like Roma have been one of the most consistent sides in Italy. And obviously, we play them in the quarterfinals of the Europa League as they beat Brighton. And 1000%, I think everybody knows that this Roma team is definitely a lot different than the last time we played them. I think it's going to be a very good game between the two. And what's nice about it, in the first leg, we are at home. So I think we really need to take advantage of this because we all know Rome is a very difficult place to play. So I think, going into that second leg away from home is going to be tough. So we got to do anything that we can to get as big as a lead. I think we're going to go with a 2-0, I feel like, because our defense is back. I feel like we're looking a lot more stronger out the back. And I think that'll be very important for us going into this second leg, is if our defense is really locked in and prepared to take on this Roma team. So I'm going to go with 2-0. Moving on to the Hellas Verona versus Milan match. Looking at the lineup, this was one that I was really excited about because we saw Kalulu starting next to Tomori for the first time in 140 days, which was great to see again. We saw a double pivot of Reinders and Benacer, which I think offers us a lot of control in the middle of the pitch. And I was more than happy to see Noah Okafor start at that number 9 position that I've been calling for a little while now. So we know that Pioli watches the channel. Milan playing a possession-based game, which I don't hate, but I feel like we were mainly passing around the back and across the pitch a lot. But we saw glimpses of great passing and moving, but there just wasn't consistency behind it. It was very sporadic patterns of play. Nonetheless, Milan creating chances like that Okafor volley and that Pulisic shot off the crossbar, and even a trademark Teo run down the middle of the pitch. But we break the deadlock with Teo charging on that left-hand side, tries to pass it in, it gets blocked, tries to pass it in again, gets blocked, and then he just says, you know what, I'm going to take this through, and puts it in to the back of the net, giving us the 1-0. I thought it showed great determination from Teo, and this season now Teo has 5 goals and 10 assists. I feel like after struggling a lot earlier this season, I think he's found his stride, and especially in these moments where games come thick and fast, I feel like it's a great time to find form. And that was the first half, a very controlled first 45 minutes from Milan. We kept 71% possession. So I feel like that just tells you all you need to know about how the first half went. Just us not really risking much. And 5 minutes into the second half, Okafor does well to press his man and takes the ball away from him and is now one-on-one with the Hellas Verona goalkeeper Montipo. And Okafor actually squanders his chance. However, it's lucky because it's deflected right into the path of Pulisic, who does well to put in his 9th goal of the season in Serie A, which is massive for the American. Unfortunately, Okafor didn't put away his chance, but I think I really liked what I saw from Okafor today. I feel like he was a mobile striker, and he was always able to beat his man with his pace, and the press was a lot better than obviously what we see with Giroud, just because obviously Giroud's age, never really had pace. Giroud, so it's great seeing something a lot more different compared to Giroud in Okafor. So I hope Okafor can get more chances going forward. After the second goal, a very sloppy goal was conceded. It looked like we were being lazy and just caught sleeping, and Hellas Verona scored a great goal to cut our lead to 1. And Leao had a great chance to make it 3-1 with a nice run, beat his defender, and all he had to do was just put it past Montipo as the one-on-one went wide. After creating a lot of half chances here and there, the introduction of Chukwueze into the match, who everyone I think has been calling for to get more minutes to try to prove himself. And in the 79th minute, 5 minutes after coming on as a sub, Chukwueze scores his first Serie A goal, a volley from just outside the box to make it 3-1, give us all 3 points in the end. And this was a very controlled game from Milan. We didn't risk much out the back other than that great strike from Hellas Verona. But I think we were good in all areas today. But we do have to work on that one-on-one finishing. 2 big chances squandered. Obviously, Okafor is lucky that Pulisic bailed him out. Leao does need to do a little bit better. Let's go to tops and flops. So for top, I'm going to go Teo Hernandez because in games where he plays at a top level, we always seem to win. And today we got exactly that. A great Teo performance, and we got a great win for the team. Flop, this one's going to be very harsh because recently he has definitely had a lot of great games, but it has to be Leao. More so because he missed that one-on-one opportunity. But I think overall he had a decent game. I think he was just the worst out of the best players. Now, the situation in the league still remains the same. We are second place, 3 points ahead of Juventus, but we are 14 points behind Inter. I think we will finish second. I think now we are going to go all in on the Europa League. I feel like that is the biggest target of the season right now. So I feel like, again, that importance of the first leg lead, doing as much as we can at home to do damage to Roma. So we will have to see for that. But we have a 2-week international break, so we're going to see Italy play a couple national team games, which I'm excited about. I love the roster for this year. So we got 2 weeks of international break, and then we come back and we play Fiorentina, who Fiorentina at the time of recording this are in 8th place. So we're just going to have to see how that game turns out. If there's any injuries or something like that, that happens in the international break. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone comes back fully fit and healthy. And I think that'll do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about our Europa League draw with Roma. I think that's going to be a massive game going forward, especially us in the first leg. Let me know what you guys think about the performance versus Hellas Verona. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.